9:30 opening to 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And what we're going to be doing is labeling out the highs and lows. So we have this high, this low, and then we're going to label also a fair value gap. So the fair value gap is just, it contains 3 candlesticks. For example, is this one. Right? And then we have the second one that really goes with speed, leaving an imbalance right here. So there's only, the third candle would make this imbalance or gap right here. So we're going to change the color of this, and this would be a fair value gap. We're going to do the same thing for the afternoon range, the high and then the low, and then we're going to mark out first fair value gap. Right, it's super small. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So that clip that you just saw was during my live stream yesterday, Monday, on August 10th. And since then, we waited a full day so that we can have more price action, so that we can really see what price does during these levels. So without further ado, let's determine whether these levels are important or not. So as you can see, we still have the same levels marked out. We have our AM low, AM high, first presented fair value gap. We have this sell side imbalance inefficiency that we marked out. So price wanted to reach back up into that because it's imbalanced. During the afternoon range, right? So we still have our high, we have our low, and then we have our little first presented fair value gap in there. And then we had also marked out this buy stop up here because we had a couple highs that failed to go up above that level and eventually just crashed down. So now what we're going to do is just simply just go left to right, right? So we're going to scroll forward just to see what happened afterwards. And this white line right here is when the market closed at 4 p.m. So that's close to the public now. And afterwards, we can see that it failed to reach this AM low, right? And then we have our PM low. We can see price consolidated in there. Price then one more time reached into the first presented fair value gap in the morning and then sold off, right? So that would be a very key thing that we can note. And this occurred right at 6 p.m. when the market opened. So that's really important. The market then dropped down lower, right? So we can see that it almost reached the AM high right here, or the AM low, I mean. And then eventually dropped down lower and actually taking out the AM low. We can then see the market tried reaching above the AM low, failed, right? Drops down lower one time, goes back up, drops down again, and then from there we can see that we did have this last high that got broken, right? So that's also another key area. Afterwards, market didn't really necessarily go to a specific area. We can see that it did go above the AM low, which is important, right? So we went below the morning's low and then came back up higher. And this is all occurring around 8 p.m. So another key time to know. We can then see price went back to the PM high, right? Into the first presented fair value gap in the morning as well. Sold off a little. We had a little retracement, but then we ended up climbing up higher to the AM high. And then we can see price reaching above the AM high. And I'm actually going to, okay, so this was our sell side imbalance that we were looking at, right? And we can see that initially we only touched the half, and then we went above it just a little bit. Didn't fully close it, which is fine. And this is occurring at around 12 a.m. right? We can see that price was kind of respecting this trend line going higher until finally it broke. A couple times went back up to it. We had a sell side imbalance, right? And this is only what I'm seeing. I'm not saying my way is correct. I'm just pointing out what's going on. We can see that price comes back down lower into the first presented fair value gap. What my eye catches is this candle right here, right at 2 a.m. Comes back higher, right? So I really like how these levels are being somewhat used. Right, so in my mind, I'm trying to think, how can we use this levels to determine a strategy that we can use consistently so that we're not just doing random trades, but we're actually trading with purpose. Right, my eye also catches this right here. Price comes back up into the first presented fair value gap again, and then goes down to the AM lows. Right, very nice. I like that. We can see PM low also being used right here, somewhat as a support, and then reaching up higher. We can see that in the morning, we're approaching opening price. We can see that price actually filled this imbalance in fully, right? Drops down lower again, comes back up, uses this imbalance again. And then this is a really beautiful drop right here on the AM high, right? We see the AM high drops massively down below to the AM low again. My best guess is probably we took out that lower low that we created earlier. Once again, that first presented fair value gap being used again. And what we can do is use those same levels, but apply it to today's trading. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to keep it like this. And that green box that you see right there is a daily fair value gap. And we can see that we almost touched it, but we did not. And we can see this is super discounted prices based on yesterday and today's trading. So anything right now would be considered a discount. And depending on price, whether it wants to keep on going back up higher, that's up to price and their efficiencies, right? So we can see price trying to reach up higher. Not to any just random levels, but specific levels that the price just really wants to go to. We can see that price failed to reach that AM low, finally touches it. Right. We're back to the PM low. We have a really big jump up, and now we're back here, back in price action live. So based on that, the next part would be, how do we come up with a certain consistent trading plan that we can really use every single day, right? And that starts with marking out these levels, and that we can see patterns occur every day, hopefully every day, so that we can finally come to a conclusion, we can write it down, and we can try to follow our plan every single day so that we become profitable. So this series is going to consist of doing exactly what I just did every single day, right? We're going to mark out the AM high and low, first presented fair value gap, same thing for the PM session. We're going to do the exact same thing every single day. We're going to eventually use an evaluation account with the prop firm. Right now, we're only going to be doing paper trading, right? So we're going to simulate, for example, if we had 50,000 in the account, we're going to simulate a 50K funded account, and we're going to try to practice trading for now. Since one of the things I said in my earlier videos is that I personally believe if I'm behind on my bills, my trading will also be behind. So meanwhile, I'm trying to get ahead of my bills so I actually have extra money so that I can actually buy myself an account from a place that is no longer behind. It's actually ahead. Until that happens, I am not going to buy any accounts, and I'm only going to be doing paper trades. So if you guys are interested in watching that process, I'm going to be doing around 20 trades, and just to collect some data and samples, whether my strategy works. But if you guys are interested in watching that, please subscribe, comment down on this video below, leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next one.